At some point in your life, you're gonna find yourself in a one night stand. What's your philosophy about one night stand? What's your protocol? In other words, what's your mindset? What do you think about it? And what do you do in that situation? Do you have something in your mind, a protocol that you do when you do find yourself in that situation? I'll share with you mine and see what you can implement in your life and how you can circumnavigate that situation more effectively. A one night stand is a situation, it could be a romantic one, it's certainly a sexual one, where you have an encounter with somebody where you don't presume you're going to continue on a relationship with that person. A one night stand. A typical, someone who refers to it typically is, they refer to it as they have sex with somebody for one time and then forget about them. Forget about that situation. Don't presume you're going to build a relationship with them. I don't have one night stands. Let me share with you why. And let me share with you my philosophy and my protocol for one night stands. I'm certainly a person with the recognition and the relationship style where I can afford and I can partake in a lot of one night stands. Much, much, much more than other people do. So let me share with you what I do in that situation. Why don't I have one night stands? The reason I don't have one night stands is because number one, I follow the intimacy model of relationships. I want to share with you what that is in a few seconds, but I don't have one night stands because it's not worthwhile for me. I have enough experience and I'm jaded enough to recognize that why would I waste my time with someone without the presumption I'll build a relationship with them, I'll build a friendship with them? Let me share that with you in different words. Let me try that in a different perspective. I don't have one night stands because why would I waste my time getting to know somebody and only interacting with them one time? It's not worth my time. I can be interacting with more meaningful relationships. Do you understand? I look to interact with people meaningfully because I live my life meaningfully. You understand? So it's not that I don't have an inhibition. It's not that I don't have sex with somebody the first time I meet them. I do that a lot. It's not that. It's that I don't waste my time with somebody with the presumption I'll have sex with them and then not build a relationship with them. But it also doesn't mean that just because I have sex with somebody doesn't mean that they're gonna be that they're gonna be in a relationship with me in a traditional context. Sex with somebody doesn't equate to a relationship. But sex with somebody is certainly a beginning of a relationship, whatever that relationship looks like, for me and them, for our particular dynamic as individuals. So for that to make sense even better, let me share with you my intimacy model of relationship. I go deep dive into the intimacy model and all my protocols for intimacy model in my course, Successful Open Relationships, SOR. It's in a link in my bio, you'll find it. But intimacy model begins with, I interact with people with the presumption that intimacy, the definition of intimacy is, I want you to pay attention to this because people define intimacy very differently. But the accurate definition of intimacy is how well you know the person. Intimacy is how well you know the person. It's not being sensual. It's not being romantic. It's not being sexual. That's what most people define intimacy as. When someone tells you, oh, you're not intimate enough, or what kind of intimacy do you have in a relationship? And then you say to yourself, what the fuck does that mean? Ask yourself the question. If someone were to ask you, do you have intimacy in your relationship? Ask yourself the question, what the fuck does that mean? Understand? Now you've got a running definition of what intimacy is. Intimacy is how well you know the person. Whether it's personally, whether it's psychologically, whether it's historically, or whether it's biblically. In other words, whether it's without clothes on, whether it's sexually. Intimacy is how well you know the person. So, beginning with that definition, the way I operate my relationships and build my protocols from that operation of my relationships is how well do I know the person? So, presumably, when I meet a new person, I build that relationship based on the knowledge that I don't know much about them. And I want to get to know them the more I spend time with them. You understand? I begin to build intimacy in that time. I'm going to explore that idea in a different video. And if you want to get a deep dive on that, just check out my website. So why don't I have one night stands? It's because I don't have one night stands. I have first night stands. I don't operate my interacting with people with the presumption that I won't build a friendship with them, that I won't build intimacy with them. Remember, intimacy is how well I get to know the person. Now, we build more intimacy the more we get to know each other. And then on a separate note, as we build intimacy, they either become more significant or less significant based on how well I get to know them, based on the dynamic that we interact and interface with. Based on our relationship to each other, I will learn whether or not they become more significant or less significant. That's whether or not we have sex. If we have sex, for example, and I like them as a person, they become more significant. If I have sex with them, and then it turns out they're not that interesting of a person, or they become you have some kind of bad personality, they become less significant. Do you understand? Sex is just a platform, a way that I get to know more about them. And there's no better way to get to know somebody than when they have no clothes on. Do you understand? Of course, you're operating this on a safe manner in every way imaginable, whether it's sexual safety, personal safety, psychological safety. That's a given. So why don't I have one night stands? Because I don't have one night stands. I have first night stands. I don't waste my time getting to know somebody with the presumption I won't continue getting to know them, or I won't build a friendship with them. Perhaps they may not become more significant after we have a sexual encounter in the first night, because they're not that interesting of a person. They're pretty dull, or they have some kind of a bad behavior that's incredibly off-putting that I find out later on. Or they become more significant, and they build a deeper and deeper friendship, and they become very significant in my life. So what's a protocol that you can take on? How can you think about this moving forward from now on, learning this philosophy? Make friends. That is your protocol. Begin with the presumption that you're gonna make friends with people. Some of them, they'll become significant to you. And some of that significant people will be sexual with you. Whether it's the first night, or whether it's the 30th night, or let me say it again, whether it's sometime in the future, or whether it's some years down in the future. Do you understand? Make friends with people. Get to know them as people. There's no point in wasting your time getting to know somebody with the presumption you're not going to continue getting to know them if they're not more and more significant. That's the reason why I don't have one night stands. I only have first night stands because I presume I'm going to continue on the relationship if they become more significant to me. Share your comments below if you have any questions, or message me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Share this with other people. You're helping make the world a better place for all of us.